How do you know if your amp is resolving? Okay, this comes from OB in Thailand. Ooh, OB. Maybe he's like a secret agent or something in Thailand. Hey, Paul. Over the last few videos, you've emphasized resolving power and how magnaplaners are probably the most resolving speakers out there. So, what makes certain amps resolving? I mean, apart from auditioning one, can you really tell? I look to make my system as resolving as possible, but with my limited budget and an obscure country of origin, I really don't know where to look. And also, why are there no information on it? Why don't we have mentions in legible manners on spec sheets? Like a spec that says, the resolving power of this amplifier. Well, I'm not sure how the hell we would do that with a spec, because I wouldn't even know where to begin. I think terminology is something we should address first. So, what does it mean to have a resolving amplifier versus an amplifier that kind of isn't so resolving, right? I first started learning about resolving amplifiers years and years ago when we started, in the 70s. We had as one of our examples a Phase Linear 400, Bob Carver's design. Bob Carver's original company was called Phase Linear. And the Phase Linear 400 was the cat's meow. I mean, that was the one everybody had to have. If you didn't have tubes, right? Audio Research was a big deal. I think Conrad Johnson maybe was going, maybe not. But certainly Audio Research was going. And the solid state guys would go with a Phase Linear 400, and we would compare another company's amp called a Crown. Crown amplifiers are mostly used in pro applications. And there was an amp called a Crown DC300A. And it was called that because on the input of the Crown was a 300A op amp. And I can't remember who made that op amp. But anyway, doesn't matter. And it was a real crappy sounding amp. I mean, it was unresolving, flat. You couldn't hear details of the kind that we're looking for, and which I will explain here in a minute. And when you listen to music on a Crown DC300A, it was kind of like a two-dimensional wall of sound. And then when you put the Phase Linear 400 on, the soundstage expanded. You could hear the space between the instruments. You could hear the overtones of a guitar or a voice, or as I'm talking, my voice is bouncing off the walls within the space. And so when I go, hey, there's this moment where that sound is reverberating off the walls and the microphone picks that up, right? Well, you didn't hear any of that, the room reverb or the overtones or the soundstage depth on the DC300A. It just collapsed it. It was, it was a terrible amplifier. Now, the reason people loved that amplifier, it was just built like the proverbial brick shithouse. I mean, that thing, could probably drive a boat. They used it at concerts. It was just rock solid, where the Phase Linear could light up in flames from time to time. And so you wouldn't want to use that in a professional situation. So the pro guys loved it, and they're not interested in these subtle details when you're playing at a concert, right? I mean, who cares? So, but that's where I first started learning about, there's clear differences in resolving power, the ability of an amplifier to resolve small details of space, of reverb, of subtle cues. So it isn't so much the main part that we're listening to, it's the after part, the subtle stuff that goes on. And how do you put that into a spec sheet? I mean, I could sit and rate 100 different amplifiers on the same system at exactly the same level and rate them, and here on a scale of 1 to 10, this guy's a 10, this guy's a 1. And you could do that, but A, who's going to spend the time to do that? B, who's going to listen to me, right? Because I make amps, right? So that would be in my best interest to say that our amps are resolving and yours aren't. Now, I wouldn't do that because that's just not me. But anyway, you get the point. Unfortunately, I think what you have to do is trust the brands. So you know that PS Audio, Audio Research, what other amp brands are we going to, there's hundreds of them that are really good. Bel Canto, Shit Audio, any of those, Conrad Johnson, Sonic Frontiers, all those, just start reading reviews and see which ones are revealing of the music and the subtle nuances within the music, and then go out as best you can, and you're going to have to sort of trust. And I don't know another way to do it, but that's what we're talking about. That's kind of the best advice I can give you. Trust the brand, okay? It's one of the reasons I'm here explaining all this stuff day in and day out, because my hope is that you'll wind up trusting us. Not that you have to buy our stuff, but at least trust what we're trying to tell you. Because, I got better things to do on my Saturday than this, but I love what I do. I love trying to explain as best I can how all this stuff works. And some people are going to benefit from it. Others are going to scoff at it. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm having fun. So, all right. Hope that helps. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.